Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining Insight Legal for this webinar on conveyancing and how you can better prepare your law firm for conveyancing work in 2022. My name is Josh Dallywell, and I'm one of three hosts on this call today. I'm kindly joined by my colleagues Andy Butler and Stephen Mile for this next half an hour or 40 minutes or so. Andy, some of you may already be, who are certainly those of you who are Insight Legal clients, may already be familiar with as one of our product specialists, and he's been with the firm for the past 7 years. And Stephen, I think you're coming close to having been with us for a year now. But yeah, I understand you have a decade of experience in legal software. Good afternoon, guys.
Afternoon.
Excellent. I also have my colleagues, Nathan and Gail, who will be monitoring the chat and QA boxes on Zoom for any questions that you have. This webinar is being recorded, so we will be making a copy available to everyone who's registered. And by that, what I mean is you'll get a link to the video on YouTube. I think that email is probably likely to go out later today or tomorrow evening, so everyone has access to that recording. Okay. Now, for the benefit of those of you joining who aren't already familiar with Insight Legal, we are and actually, I should probably mention there's a few new names I've seen on the registration list this morning. Insight Legal is a legal software company, and we typically work with practice managers, finance managers, and senior partners in law firms, really kind of anywhere, really kind of from sole practitioners to businesses of upwards of 150 people. I think our largest client now has 180 users. And there's really kind of several reasons why we get approached by firms wanting to change their software provider, and which is usually down to a small number of sometimes very important issues that they currently have. That might be that the firm lacks the level of support they get from their existing software supplier. Their current product or current software product has reached its end of life, so is no longer being updated. The costs of the software contract terms are unfavorable, or the software that they're currently using is just not suited to the needs of a modern growing firm. So I guess I want to maybe kind of pose a quick question, which is, if any of you are currently looking at evaluating new suppliers or thinking about changing your software supplier, please feel free to let us know in the QA chat boxes, which will appear on the Zoom toolbar. And on that note, if you can familiarize yourself with that QA chat function, you can also use that to ask questions during this live session. We'll try and answer those, certainly Gail or Nathan would try and answer those during the webinar, or we'll try and address those at the end. Okay. Right, so what do we have in store for you today? We've got a fairly full agenda because there's obviously a lot of things to cover off. We know that conveyancing work continues to throw up its own sometimes unique set of challenges, so we'll run through a few of those, and then we're going to show you what features Insight Legal encapsulates to help you through the process of running through your files more efficiently. And I'll be kind of handing over the controls to my colleagues Stephen and Andy to navigate you through some of the out-of-the-box features on workflows, searches, SDLT integration, digital forms, completion statements, and yes, we have a new feature currently being tested with a small subset of existing Insight clients, which is our client portal, which Stephen will be giving you a preview of. Now, I guess kind of all of you currently working at the coal face of conveyancing will know better than me or anyone at Insight Legal the challenges faced, and these are just some of the ones that we hear from our clients, or the ones that we read about. And again, I'm sure that some of these are very familiar to you. If there are any that you'd like to add or share, then please feel free to use the chat function to share some of those experiences, and we'll try and mention those on this call. Okay. And again, we are talking about kind of, I guess, an ever demanding, and as I mentioned here, kind of in brackets, an occasionally rude client base. The expectations of customers have changed in terms of, their, and I guess, again, you'll be more familiar with this than I am, that clients want everything, and sometimes they also kind of see the role of conveyancing almost as being an obstacle to where they need to get to, which is either selling their house, buying their house, etc. Okay, but again, I'm sure kind of a lot of those things are things that you guys are already familiar with. Okay, now I guess there are a number of ways in which firms have to evolve to continue to meet the needs and expectations of the customer. So very much like Netflix, people want everything, I guess, including their solicitor, to be available on demand, as opposed to your kind of normal live streaming hours. But what we want to try and cover off during this session is the role that technology and automation has to play. And we're going to start, really, by talking about workflows. And I guess kind of what we're talking, I guess many of you join this call will already have some understanding of workflows, whether you've used them in your current or previous roles. And often when people talk about workflows, and what they understand is for them to be a set of, processes made up of clearly defined individual tasks to be completed, sometimes in a linear fashion. And those tasks may involve multiple people, both external and internal, and integrations with other systems. Okay, what people are often unclear on is what the full range of purposes and benefits of a workflow are. Okay, what everyone associates with workflows is control. If you, for example, have a set of tasks that you may want to have completed in a set order, and the outcome of one task may have an impact on the rest of the workflow. Taking a very simple example, you want to ensure that until all the AML checks have been done, or the proof of funds checks have been done, you don't want to start work on a matter. Or has the client deposited the required funds, which enable you to start work on their case? Or has the client care letter gone out? Workflows are also incredibly important in guiding a user through the proper course of action to take. We know, for example, that many firms will rely on support staff, interns, paralegals to undertake some of the initial work on a matter, which might involve carrying out checks, sending out a welcome pack, so they can be made to be quite prescriptive in their approach. Not only can workflows ensure that the individual is responsible for completing tasks, but also that work can be delegated to a team or department. That could be because of a heavy workload, or in the absence of a team member due to sickness or holiday leave. Those outstanding tasks can be delegated. Anyone taking over a workflow from one member of the firm can instantly see what tasks have been completed, what's still outstanding, and what needs working on next. You can integrate workflows with other parties, for example, initiating a search on conveyancing matters, or completing forms. So typically, whether you want to complete an AP1, TR1, Form E, or IHT, these can be completed and submitted as part of a workflow. And where the data for those forms is captured as part of the case file or as user-defined data, it will pre-populate the required form. Now, I want to talk about kind of these next two together, so expedite and automate. Automation in workflows helps reduce or cut out, sometimes quite menial or repetitive tasks that we undertake, sometimes in our working lives, and often we do those tasks without paying too much attention to them until someone shows us another way, or certainly another productive way. Producing documents, for example, can be automated. You reach a certain point in a workflow, for example, where a document might need to be produced. It needs inputting set of data points, reference numbers, client name, address, matter details. The document might need converting to PDF and then emailing out. There's no specialist set of skills required to produce that document. So why can't it be automated? And say it takes you 10 minutes to produce each letter manually, and the automation reduces that to 2 minutes. Now that's 8 minutes saved. Multiply that by the 30 or so letters that you send out each week, and you've automatically saved yourself 4 hours. Time is money, and money is time. So being able to expedite tasks in matters frees up your time to work on the elements of your job that really kind of earn you the fees. And really kind of the final one there is, being the ability to track and measure how long a process takes from start to completion. And that can help you understand the profitability of the work that you do. You can report on how many matters you have at any point in time, what stage they're at. Do you have matters that are not progressing because workload is too much for a single individual or a department, so they need delegating? Does it mean that you need to reevaluate your fees because certain work is taking longer than expected? In addition, you can set up reminders that certain tasks need to be completed in X number of days from when the file opened or when you received a certain piece of information back from your customer. Okay, and that could be, you could say, right, we want to have completed this file in X number of days from it opening. Okay, and once you've reached that stage, is there an alert that needs to be sent out to a fee earner, a department head, etc. Okay. I guess that's kind of enough of me to kind of talking generally about workflows. I want to bring in Stephen here at this point to show you one of our out-of-the-box kind of conveyancing workflows. I guess before I give you kind of the screen share controls, is there anything I guess you want to add at this point before we go to your live demo?
No, I think if I show you how it works, and I'll cover some of the key aspects, but I think you've done a really good introduction there on the problems people are facing and how we can try and resolve those issues using the Enterprise Insight solution.
Excellent. Do you want to have a go at sharing your screen?
I will indeed. So hopefully my screen can be viewed by everybody at the moment.
Brilliant, I can see it.
Brilliant, fantastic. So I don't spend too long on this section really, but it's just to give a flavour of how Insight can work and resolve some of those issues which Josh rightly pointed out. So what I've done here is I've set up a fairly standard conveyancing file. Somebody contacts yourselves and wants to do a residential purchase, and how can we help them? Now, for those who already use Insight on a day-to-day basis, they know Insight can help with the efficiencies by being able to do the emails in and out, create the documents, the forms, etc. But as we know, again, as indicated, there's increasing demand for files. It's a much more competitive industry, and we're really looking at profitability of the files with regards to fixed fee. So we really want to try and get as many efficiencies within the system as possible. And workflows is one key area we can do this. So fee earners can start doing their value add by doing the fee earning work and not being bogged down and spending time doing a lot of the, should we say, logistics work, which they don't necessarily need to do or want to do. So a couple of things I'll just very quickly show you with regards to the workflows and the system as a whole. So one of the key areas which is often underutilized within the system is our user-defined data fields. And with the Enterprise, we give you some template of these, or these can be customized. And these are areas where you can start providing information which can be reported on, pulled into documentation for that particular matter or file. So just to give you an idea, we can have some client information in there. But more importantly, on conveyancing, we can start putting in some data, either manually or through the workflows, which will help us progress that case. It stops us having to go through the paper file, trying to find that bit of information about maybe the mortgage offer or the estimated completion date. It's all there, easy to find and easy to identify. And as I mentioned, all of this data can be pulled off into documents, into other parts of the system we need to. So I just want to really cover the use of defined fields. Again, underutilized, but really, really important for the efficiencies of one source of information where we need to contact that. And again, looking at the effectiveness of the file, we all know the problem is our clients like us, they don't realize the work we're doing in the background. So they're on the phone saying, what's happening? Where are we? What's going on? What's happening, etc. But it's really useful if, for example, there's one central depository where we can find the information, they can contact, maybe speak to administration, reception, or whoever it may be, who can quickly access the information and say, your estimated mortgage or estimated completion date is such. It stops you being distracted from your work by taking our phone call, which could take 10, 15 minutes. And again, that really impacts on a day-to-day basis. So just digress slightly there, but I really just want to go into the workflows now. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this in a lot of detail, but I'm going to cover just maybe the introductory stage, just to give you an idea of how this can work and how this can help you. So really, workflows out of the box from Insight will give you phases, as we can see here. And we basically split the matter or the file into the key chapters. So the introductory stage, the gather information stage, the searches and checks, inquiries, etc. So this gives us a flow of the history or the matter of the file. Now, as we can see very quickly by again simply looking, we can see where we are on each particular stage. We can see if it's been completed, we haven't done anything, or we're in that stage in an active way. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the introductory phase, and see what that actually means to us. So we can simply now go into our tasks, and that's telling us what we need to do at this particular phase. So again, what I've done is I've done this sort of introductory phase where we have to do the sort of standard documents we set out as a business. Okay. Historically, traditionally, whatever we want to use, we maybe have to go into the system and create those four or five documents individually, send them out, email them, do whatever we do. And again, as Josh said, that may take 10, 15 minutes, but actually over the course of say 100 files, we can quickly see how that time builds up. So what can we do? Well, very, very easily, we can simply by one click produce all those documents we need to produce. So let's show you how that works. Simply click on produce all. That will give us our standard sort of document production page, which we may be used to. We used Insight before. We can say who does these documents want to go to. So we simply choose who we want to send it to. And then again, control is very, very important. Now, for these standard documents, we're happy with those. We don't want to go into them and actually change them. However, we do have the ability to go into each of those documents individually if we wish to, and maybe change how we address the person. We know them very well. We actually know that Stephen Minor wants to be called Steve, so we just want to go in there and change that. But we're happy with all that. We can say, yep, we'll produce those. We can say, yep, we can complete that because we now produces those documents. So straight away, it's now taking us to the next stage. And we can see there that's taken 5, 6 seconds as opposed to maybe 3 or 4 minutes. It's now asking us actually what we need to do now is our process is to put in the memo of sale. And again, all it's simply asking us to do is to drag and drop that document into the system. Again, very, very simple, foolproof. So maybe you may have the admin staff can do this, or the paralegal can do this part of the work. Happy with all that, we can say we've completed that stage. And then it's now sending us, we now need to send this to the client. And again, it's prompting us. We know we have to do this. So all we can simply do is say, yes, who we want to send this to. It's telling us we need to add the attachments. So again, those who are used to the system, we can go onto the matter files, see the documents we need to attach, drag and drop them in. Nice and easy. Happy with all that. And then we can send our templated email to the client with the attachments. Very, very simple, and that's saved within the file. So straight away, we can start seeing how we can start building up that flow within the system. So a couple of things I'll just quickly show you there. That's now telling us we've completed those tasks. We're nice and happy. And it's taken us to the next stage where it's becoming more intelligent and it's asking us some questions to fill in. So some of the actions we can do within those workflows, we've seen very quickly, we can produce documents, we can add data or documents within the system, we can send emails, but we can do lots of other things as well. So it can start saying to us, can we now look at asking us questions so the system can be intelligent enough to say, actually, this is a freehold or leasehold. These are the kind of questions we need. It can also be intelligent. We can hit basic milestones. So, for example, if you have a process within the organization where the administration team will do a certain part of the file, that's absolutely fine. So what they can simply do is when they've done that introductory stage, an email can be sent off to say, that's completed, can you now please take over the file and do the work where you add the value. So again, it's a very controlling process, enables you to do that. But equally important, for those who do it on a day-to-day basis, you're not prescribed to follow this particular route. If the organisation says not to, you have the flexibility to go into different areas if required. So that can either be locked down or given a free rein. So that's really useful.
So Stephen, I think just on that, just to expand upon that point, I would say kind of, one of the biggest, I guess, sometimes criticisms or things that puts people off workflows, I think, especially if people see them as being kind of quite well versed in their process of how to do things, and they've done it, they've run through a process a million times, they know it kind of, like the back of their hand, and they think, well, a workflow is going to inhibit me in some way. I know what needs to be done. Do I need to run through it in a particular order? And yes, I guess the actual prescribed set of steps there is really to guide an individual, the ability to delegate tasks onto various people to do it. And yes, based on permissions, you can jump ahead, to go and complete some stuff if you're waiting particularly on something which is holding the file up. But yeah, again, it's not meant there to be hinder any individual within the organization, but really, certainly, I guess, where you're delegating tasks and you're delegating those onto members of staff to work on some of, I guess, sometimes the more menial task is the controller and the measure, which goes with them knowing what needs doing, and also you being able to measure, has it been done.
Exactly, and as you said, Josh, it's there to help. So let's take a bit of a scenario. If I go onto my home page, the other benefit of the workflows is I can get a bit of a diary overview of what I need to do or haven't done. So let's step back in time a little bit to the end of the stamp duty holiday. And I imagine a lot of those who are involved in conveyancing had quite a lot of sleepless nights with a lot of work going on, and probably a lot of your files at the same kind of stage. So I've been a bit extreme here. So I can see actually my day-to-day working, I'm overdue 34 tasks, which isn't manageable. So I can then start saying, okay, let's have a look. We can report on this as well and say, right, how many tasks at which stage? And as Josh said, I can start controlling my day-to-day diary, my workings, to say, I can't deal with that. I can now start reallocating that particular work to other people within my organization. And at the end of the day, the things we want to look at, as we mentioned, is profitability of the file, but also that client engagement process. We want the client to get the best service from us. So we get repeat business, word of mouth business. And by doing that, we can actually ensure we hit things on the timescales they expect, get the realistic expectations, and actually meet those. So again, there's lots and lots of benefits with workflows, both for myself as a fee earner, the organization, and the client as well. So I've covered that in a few minutes there, but obviously we're more than happy to do more in-depth demonstrations to each individuals. But hopefully that's covered the workflows at this stage. And I think Andy's now going to go into a bit more detail on some of those tasks which have been also added onto the workflows.
Yeah, sure. So I guess, yeah, just before I guess we go to Andy, I guess just quickly, what I wanted to mention is that, yeah, we have we have a number of out-of-box workflows. Obviously, for conveyancing, we have sale, purchase, and remortgage, and we have also, I guess, I have a mix of clients who use them. We have a mix of clients who use them out of the box, but it's also probably worthwhile mentioning at this stage. I know it's probably too much to go through during this particular session. Is that every element of a workflow is customizable. Okay, and it may be that we do, we kind of work through some of those changes to customize each workflow for you, certainly in its very first iteration. But I guess, more importantly, that as part of our workflow onboarding, we empower you with the knowledge to make those changes yourselves. It doesn't require you to become a programmer or a technical wizard overnight. It is just simply about kind of dragging and dropping boxes to make those changes on an ongoing basis, if you need to tweak that process. Okay, excellent. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I'll kind of hand over to Andy now, and I guess, yeah, you've got a few things to show us, Andy, that some of our conveyancing clients already use, and there may be some stuff that also our clients aren't aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, thanks Steve, thanks Josh for the introductions. Hi everyone, I can see there's some people new and out on the call that I haven't spoken to, so nice to meet you. So what I'm going to be going through today, I'll share my screen in just a moment. I'm going to be focusing on our completion statement and two of our integrations with our search provider and our SDLT integration. So I'll just share my screen now. Okay, so very first thing, our completion statement. Now this is very straightforward. It's a repeatable task. It's part of our office integration. You can amend this. You cannot really get it wrong. Okay. So we're in case inquiry. That's where Steve's been pretty much the whole time. You can see it's a very healthy looking ledger. We have all of our disbursements showing. We have all of our typical client receipts, right? Our deposit monies, mortgage advance, so on. And what we have as part of Insight, as part of the enterprise module, is this new box here, this new rectangle called completion statement. Now, what you can do within here is include those payments received and out onto the document, right? This document and your ledger will always read exactly the same. The columns and the options that you see here are yours. So if you don't like, for example, my wording of money's paid on account, your Insight would read something differently. To include that transaction on the statement, you edit using that pen icon. You select the transaction just by ticking the box, and you finish editing. If I do the same with the land registry fee here, that is now complete, right? And obviously I've done the others previously. Clicking this icon here will allow you to produce the document. As you can see, it's part of our Word integration. Clicking this icon will create it, and the document will appear. Now, many of you who have done this sort of, or done some things akin to this before, anyone new on the call, this is going to be your document. It will have your header, your styling, your font, your table, as it should appear. Anything on this, you can of course change at any time. It's a Word document. If you do make a change, you'll save it as you're used to. When you quit that document, anyone will always be able to see it immediately after the production of it, a year, 5 years down the line, as it will always live within the matter files. There is said document. To amend this at any time, you'll double click, which will reopen the document, and there you have it. Right, so that's our completion statement. It's configurable, it's a repeatable task, it's yours to define.
And I know it might sound very obvious, and I know you mentioned that, Andy. Yeah, but it's surprising how many times people do ask that question, which is, you know, instead of the Insight legal logo there, can we have our own? It is, yes, absolutely. So it will be entirely on your templates as opposed to ours. This is
absolutely your letterhead, your document. Can't stress that enough. Thanks, Josh. So the next part, so searches. So this is one of our integrations. Right, we partner with a company called Index PI to provide this service. Because it's an integration, you just have absolute massive convenience with it. It's all integrated. It's all kept within Insight. You don't need to open this separately. It exists within the workflow. As Stephen showed earlier, it's all in one place, that sort of harmonious solution. So if I start a quote here, create an order, this will open up Index PI's website, and it's just going to load that up. You can see here the, okay, there you go. So I put the wrong title number in, that's why. The property address had been pulled through. Now, how it's done that, like Stephen was saying earlier, was again through the workflows, through those user-defined fields. So in my property details, I've recorded my address, right? I've recorded some other data, and that's why when I created the order, I didn't need to look it up. It was there for me. On this page here, I can just confirm the mapping, and that will then bring me through to the search page where I can add those products to my search, right? Everyone, this is Index PI's sort of product. It's their service. They're the absolute, you know, sort of best versed people to speak to about it. If anyone would want to see this further with us, you could of course have a demo. So, you know, sort of anytime you need. Adding any product you like to your order. When it loads up on the right, you will see that there. You can confirm the order, which will put the search through. You can save this as a quote. And if I just do that with you now, so I'm just going to save that as a quote. It can be viewed in your case management. If you want to revisit that quote, add more products to it, submit it whenever you're ready, it will still live within the matter files. It exists there. You'll double click on it and it will open the screen back up. So that's the search integration as well. And again, more than happy to discuss that sort of on a one-on-one demo. Our SDLT integration. So this is provided by sdlt.co.uk. This will allow you to create and submit document, again, all within Insight, all within the workflow whenever you're ready to. This document will, again, map the data that you've given the file, right? So everything that you guys know better than me, the title number, the purchase price, everything will be pulled through. And if I just open this with you now, you'll see it's the document that, again, everyone here knows better than me. So all of this data, all of these drop downs, everything here will be pulled through from Insight. You can, of course, whenever, if something is not recorded, if you simply don't want to record it, you can choose this at any time. Again, when you save this, the form will be saved and it will live, if I move this out of the way, it will live within the matter files. As Stephen said before, all of this is audited. And should you want to see who created that form in the first place, who ordered those searches in the first place, it's all kept within the screen, or within the workflow, or within the same file. And that's all kept there.
Excellent, thanks, Andy. And Stephen, I think you kind of wanted to give us a preview of the client portal. And again, I guess this is something that we've obviously kind of started trialing with a subset of our clients, and is expected to be launched very soon. In fact, I had a question about that this morning, so we're hoping to get an update on that this afternoon. But yeah, this is very much the first iteration of that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just share my screen again and just cover a little bit on the portal. So if you bear with me 1 second. So this is a really exciting development. It's basically got lots of benefits, but I think one of the key ones is the client engagement process. So we can all maybe split our own client base into various things. You maybe have the traditional people who like to come in or on the telephone continuously. Or we'll take example of my sister, who doesn't pick up the phone for anybody. She doesn't want to be involved. She just wants things to happen and know what's going on. And this really, where the portal comes into its own, you can look at your client base, say, actually, who would benefit from access to the portal? So let me just cover it very briefly and give you sort of a hint of flavour how it can work. So when you create the file, open up your file, you could give both the client or third parties, so maybe the estate agent sector, access to the portal. They simply log in with a unique username and password, so it's nice and secure, and they'll be faced with this homepage, for want of a better word. Obviously, very similar to our document, which not just said, this is branded with ourselves, but this would be your branding, your ticker tape, your marketing message, whatever you want it to be, that can go on there. So, for example, you could put along there our Christmas opening hours. Anything such as that can be put onto the portal. So again, as the client, I've logged in, and I can see the relevant matters which you've asked me or have given me permission to see. I can simply click on the one I want to view. So what does that mean? Well, straight away, I can log in and see what's happening with, in this case, my remortgage of 52 Victoria Road. I can see, and this is pulled through from the data, maybe from the workflow, to see actually you've done the introductory stage, but you're actually on the gather info stage. So the benefit is I know what's happening. I know, we all know the real world is in the conveyancing market, loads and loads is happening in the background. But the client, they don't really appreciate that. So they're always going, what's going on? What's going on? They can actually say, okay, we're not at that stage yet. I know that's happening, and I can see the anticipator when that stage will happen. That's great. So they get an idea of what's going on. And that could potentially reduce the phone calls you're getting to say, what's going on? Can you give me an update, etc.? They know what's going on. We can then scroll down. And for example, we can now see who's working on our particular file. So if maybe one person, we can multiple. And again, let's take an example of maybe public sector, I'm a teacher. I can't use my mobile phone during the hours of 9 till 5, but I want to know what's going on. I have some questions. So I now have the ability to click on the contact us and post a question email to my fee owner and say what's going on there. So really, I'm getting 24/7 access to my file. So that's really, really powerful. Great for client engagement. Great story there. The other thing is also, you may send them an email and they want to respond out of hours. They can just respond through this page as well. The next thing we can see is any of the file you decide to give access to the client to. So this won't be the whole file. Don't panic. Oh, I don't want them to see everything. It will only be the areas you want them to see. So again, let's put that into a bit of a real life environment. So we may actually do the searches area. We've checked the searches through. That will then go ticked on the system, say, yep, the searches are in there. An email could automatically through the workflow be sent to the client, say your searches are there. They come home in the evening. They can see on the files what the searches are. They can click on it. Oh, have a look at it. It may be a Saturday morning. They're going through. Oh, look at my searches. I've got a question about that. I can then simply click on contact us and ask the question. So you're giving the client a really nice experience. They feel as though they're in control of what's going on. But you can also speed up the process as well. So you may want them to review a particular document very quickly. They can see that, so you're not having to send it in the post. The post will cost 3 or 4, 5, 6 days for them to review it and send it back. So again, we're looking at the profitability of the file and the speed process. And just on that, for maybe the senior partners out there, or those who want to know about it, we can also speed up things such as, for example, the billing process, where we can simply post the bill onto the system and they can quickly access that bill. And with one of the features we have on is the payment links as well. You can even put the payment link within the bill, click on it, and they can pay that bill there and then, and think of that speed turnover of the whole process. So say this is going live with a few selected at the moment. It's going to be a really, really powerful part. Expectation is not going to be right for all your clients, but for actually a majority of them, this will be a great way to improve that client experience and speed up the whole process. Okay. And again, if anybody needs any further information, please contact us and we'll help you with that side as well. So I hope that's given you a bit of a teaser on the portal, and I think this will be a key part of your business going forward.
Thanks, Stephen. Can you just quickly scroll to the top of that page? And yeah, I think it would be worthwhile mentioning a couple of things. One is obviously that it'll have your branding across the top of the screen, as opposed to what you see there with the Insight branding. And again, that's something that'll be kind of part of the onboarding process for the client portal. But again, I think I guess very importantly, you know, the ability to take payments as well. You know, a particular pet hate of mine is, you know, receiving a bill or an invoice from someone and they say, you know, please call us on the office line between the hours of 9:30 and 5 o'clock to make payment. Why can't I just do that when I'm sit at home in the evening? Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, let me take back the screen share controls. Just there's a few more things to run through. And I guess really kind of the first of those is really kind of, so what is the end goal of any kind of technological improvement or automation? Ultimately, it should be, you know, it should help you kind of speed up working through a matter, either by kind of allowing you to share or delegate responsibility for tasks in a way that's automated and doesn't rely upon a human to say, right now, you know, I finished my bit, now it's time for you to take over. There's obviously that efficiency also brings cost savings. It allows fee earners to focus more on more of their time on higher value tasks, but also ensure that you as a firm can handle a larger caseload. Okay, you reduce risk by ensuring that regardless of who is completing a task, that the correct process is followed, and obviously documents are templated. And also with automation, you can standardize and optimize this process to ensure that every matter is submitted with all the right information every time. Imagine how much time could be saved when, you know, as if the involved parties don't have to, you know, to be tracked down and followed up with for any information that hasn't been submitted as part of the file opening. And similarly, having all of your integration for producing forms in one place, synced with your case management, reduces how much time you spend on duplication, such as manually re-entering or copying and pasting data from one system to another. Okay. I know that we're running kind of a little bit kind of behind schedule, but I understand we have some time for questions, and I'll kind of pick up on some of the questions that have already been submitted. I guess, yeah, kind of be worthwhile kind of sharing these with I guess the rest of the people on the call. I know we've had a question about the completion statement, for example, and the question is, if I was to send this prior to completion to request balance monies from client, how can I add land registry fees, as it will not be on the ledger yet? So can you add things that aren't already on the ledger? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. Okay. You can add anticipated disbursements to the statement at any time using, there's that big plus icon, okay, next to payments out. Okay. There's also a question on portal. When the client logs in, will they see all the matters as no, they don't. They will only see their matters. Again, that being a demo account, for example, there were 3 different matters on that, and that could be, again, that's, yeah, this is very much a mock-up account, but obviously they will only see the matters relating to them. I've got another question here. I guess, yeah, it's quite a direct one. I like these kind of ones. And the question in 5 words is, how much does it cost? Now, because this question has been submitted, I guess anonymously, I don't know if you're an existing client or not, so let's assume not. There is a price calculator on the Insight Legal website. The license price per user for Insight Legal is £65 per user per month. And that includes everything that we've shown you here today, except for the integrations with the digital forms and the SDLT, which obviously require integration with external partners. The price calculator on our website, you can input how many users you have or how many users you'd like. Based on the number of users, it also kind of works out training costs, and also I guess kind of the optional consultancy fees. And the consultancy fees are optional just purely because that's where you might want to involve us. They actually don't even care if you involve us in making any changes to any of the existing workflows. But again, I'll share our contact details. So if you kind of want to use a price calculator and you want clarification on anything on that. It's also worthwhile mentioning, obviously, the fact that we talked about workflows and out-of-the-box workflows. We also have out-of-the-box workflows for family, wills, probate, employment, and power of attorney, I think. Is that all of them? I don't know if there's any that I've missed there.
That's all of them there, Josh.
Excellent. Perfect. And just one other quick question. Again, we may have to kind of rush through this one. Can you track the time a file takes from open to completion? Stephen, do you want to take that one?
So I missed that, Josh. Sorry.
I said, can you track the time a file takes from open to completion?
So what you can do is you can look at when the file's opened and the closure date, and track how long that particular area takes from those areas. Okay, and but in workflows, we basically track how long every kind of single stage takes. Again, which you may want to map kind of profitability against. Okay, okay, right. Quickly moving on. I guess, yeah. If this was your first time joining Insight Legal for one of our webinars, there is actually a page on our website where you can access recordings of our previous sessions. So if you head over to insightlegal.co.uk and click on the community tab that's across the top, and then onto events, you'll see a list of not only of our kind of previous webinars, but also where we'll be sharing links to our upcoming events. Okay, we have one, for example, on digital forms, which is in 2 weeks' time. And next month, we're going to be talking about e-signatures. So if you'd like any more information on those, then please drop an email to our webinars team on webinars@insightlegal.co.uk.
And just in terms of, I guess, kind of next steps, as I mentioned right at the beginning, there will be a copy of the recording of this session going out to everybody who's registered. And if off the back of that, or anything that you've seen here today, guys, and you'd like your own kind of personal, I guess, demonstration of either the workflows or any of the other kind of enterprise features that we've shown today, then please either drop me an email or any of the team that have been on the call today, or directly through to our webinars at insightlegal.co.uk email address, and we'd be happy to get some time booked in with you. And as I mentioned, our next webinar is going to be in 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks today, and that's where we'll be kind of bringing in our partner, our digital forms partner, Form Evo, and we'll be kind of looking more at that particular integration. And then obviously next month we've got e-signatures. I want to thank my fellow panelists on the call today, and also for you guys for thank you for taking part in our webinar, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Take care.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.